Actually, I defer to Steve.
Okay, that's why Steve's up here.
I'm
Steve,
sorry.
the floor is yours. Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate Lanny letting me do the program today. And by the way, I'll introduce my nephew, John Dean, over there. He's my guest, but he's not part of the team here that's presenting today. I'm real glad to have today Jennifer Dean and also Larry Cowan, and they brought a few other people to help them present the program today, but it has to do with Kids First, and hopefully we'll get a little factual information and a little general information about the upcoming election to vote for whether or not we're going to do something about our school. So we're looking forward to hearing that. We've got a lot of information out there. We've got a lot of misinformation out there. Hopefully we'll get the facts straight so you can make a proper decision. It's always good to have the facts before you decide. So at this time, I'll ask Jennifer to come forward, and then she can introduce the ones that are helping her with the program. Thank you, Jennifer.
Y'all hear me? Is that good? All right. First, I want to thank y'all for having us here today. If at any point, because I can tell as soon as I move away from this, you can't hear me very well, so just raise your hand and I'll lean in some more.
You put it in your hand. You put it in your hand.
That would probably be better.
Hold on.
All right. So, of course, I'm Jennifer. I have 4 kids. They range in age from 22 to 13. So they've all come through the Gilmer school system and doing pretty good. There's only a few things that would get me to speak publicly, and one of them would be bond issue. So that's why I'm here today. Thank you guys for having us. We really appreciate having the opportunity to get some information out there. As I was thinking about coming today, I've been to one Rotary meeting many years ago, and I couldn't remember the year, but I could remember the location. In my mind's eye, it was an old building, but I couldn't place it anywhere here in Gilmer. And so I've been thinking about it, and I asked John, where would Rotary have met whenever you were in Rotary, which was, how long ago, 97, 98, somewhere? Yeah, so he said the old library. And it's crazy, I had forgotten that building even existed. I mean, it's long gone, but it just, really brings to mind how much Gilmer has changed in a relatively short amount of time. So, I want to just move through some of how we kind of have come to this committee finding a recommendation for construction of a new high school. So back in September, 30 to 40 community citizens were invited to participate in this process. We had principals, teachers, administrators, community members, school architects, financial advisors, facility planners, and students participate in this process and really evaluate the needs of the entire district, not just the high school. And this occurred, they were meeting about every 2 weeks from September to January. So it was a lot of time involved. And they came back with recommendations on the needs of the district for kind of a long-term plan as well. What they found, their first recommendation was recommendation for construction of a new high school and career and technology building. You may hear us refer to that as a CTE building or a CAPE building. So, move to the next one. They came to that conclusion. It wasn't an easy conclusion, knowing that we had 2 bonds, one in 2013, one in 2015, that had failed. But when they looked at the needs of the high school, and I want y'all to, look, you've got some handouts on your table here, right here, on this one on the back side. There is a column that says the existing GHS facility is no longer adequate for our students. If you'll just kind of glance at that. These are some of the highlights of some of the things they found, and certainly we couldn't list all of that here. But that school was built in 1950, so it's almost 70 years old. As just a side note, I was looking through the paper last week and I saw, I don't know what prompted me to, but I started looking through the rearview mirror. And I'm looking through 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40, 50, 60. I get to 60. And it lists John Edward Dean, my husband's grandfather, as being named school board president. And so that prompted another conversation, which was he would have served on the school board during the construction of the current high school. So kind of cool. But one of the main problems that is really at the forefront of our minds is lack of security due to multiple entry points. Because of the many renovations that have occurred to that school and additions, there's so many entry points and exit points to allow students to flow from class to class and building to building, and even across a street that's pretty busy. So as well as the administration has tried, it's virtually impossible to really secure those entry and exit points. Some of the other problems is that it's 100 students over capacity. So when the school was built, it was built for approximately 600 students. We're at about 700 right now. So we're really busting the seams, literally. That also, what that leaves is 9 toilets for about 700 students. I can imagine how interesting that would be. The science labs, we have brought them up to date. The school district has brought them up to date as well as possible, but still, with all the renovations that they've been able to do, Kilgore College is not, we do not meet the criteria that would allow Kilgore College to offer some of their dual credit science classes. So if you think about being in your science lab back in high school, and there was the little, if you had a chemical spill, in your eyes or on your skin, you need a washout area. Well, we have a way that we can have water be released to wash out, but there's no drain. So we've got some plumbing issues there that we just can't really overcome very easily without some major renovations. The roof is 29 years old and nearing its life expectancy, so that expense is coming up on the horizon. And existing HVAC units, several will be replaced in the near future. Many of the areas of the building are not ADA or fire safety compliant because they've been grandfathered in. But if we did make major renovations to the school, we would have to bring all of that up to code as well. So as you consider the expenses, the committee, considering all of that, considering, yes, that we've had 2 bonds that failed in 2013 and 2015, still came back with the recommendation that the most wise financial move here would be new construction versus putting more money into a 68-year-old building that still we would not be able to secure because we have to accommodate those kids in those classrooms outside the building. So that's kind of where we stand. Let me advance this here. So the bond is for $35.2 million. That includes a new high school and career and technical center. Many of you probably understand how the bond process works, but in case you don't, I've learned a lot about it. Money that's earmarked for a bond can't be spent in other areas. They can't be used for salaries. So money for salaries can't be used for construction projects. So on the ballot, there will just be a bond. It'll just say construction for a new high school and career and technology building. So I'm going to turn this section over to Joe, who's going to talk about what's proposed.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joe Dodd. I graduated from Gilmer High School in 1989. I have 4 boys. One graduated in 2015. I have 2 that are at the high school right now, and one that's in 5th grade. So I also have been a member of the last 3 citizen committees that have looked at the physical needs of the school district, and so I've been very familiar with that process. And like Jennifer said, all 3 times we've come back with the need for a new high school is the dominant need for the district. And that's why we're at this again. So in the proposed bond package, a new high school will do a lot of things, expand college readiness, larger classrooms. She talked about the science labs that we need, larger core facilities for future expansion. Of course, nothing is set in stone right now. We just have, some ideas and some general plans that we had to get to figure out what the costs would be. So, if it were to pass, there'll be about a 6-month period, I believe. Is that right, Rick? Where there'll be planning and community involvement for the actual final design. But basically, we're looking at a building that would accommodate 800 students right now. We have about 700 or so enrolled in school right now, and we've had as many as almost 800. So a new building would be right at 800 students immediately, but the core facilities would be such that it'd be very easy to expand to 1,000 students without any structural changes to the building or anything. Another item is an auditorium theater to serve the entire high school population. I know that this week, this Thursday, the band has their spring concert, and they're having it at Union Grove High School because we don't have a facility that can accommodate them on our campus. And as all of us are very aware lately, of course you can't promise and can't do anything to completely keep everyone safe, but increased security with this new building would be a major step forward. Unfortunately, we've seen lots of events in our country lately where high schools are targets, and ours is very difficult to secure right now just because of all the additions and all the entry points and the fact that we've got kids crossing a street to get to class and things of that nature. Basically, here's just some more technical details. The way it's initially planned just to get the pricing was the high school main building would be a little bit under 130,000 square feet, and the career and technology building would be a little bit under 22,000 square feet. All right, this is a picture of the campus basically right now. You can see the football stadium, the high school currently. Across the street here is the bus barn and the current career technology building, so they have to cross the street here. And of course, this is the high school with all the different additions. You can kind of see how it's spread out. Band hall, which is here, and then parking, here. So once again, this is just an idea, nothing set in stone, but the committee has proposed this for the plans. So another part of this that would really help us instead of renovation would be this new construction, because new construction would occur in this area. So here is the band hall we're talking about. So it would be kind of in between the band hall and the football stadium. So all that construction will take place over the next 18 months after the 6 months of planning. And so kids will still be able to go to school uninterrupted, in the building that would be still here. Once this was completed, they'll move in. Target date is fall of 2020. They can move into the new school, and the old school would be demolished, and a new parking lot, be built. And then this would be the new Career and Technology Center in between the main school building and this part of the football stadium. So kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at. Excuse me. All right, so right now we're proposing a two-story building, of which the first story will be much larger than the second. So the first story will have a lot of the labs and some of the core facilities, such as the cafeteria, the 2 PE gyms, and dressing areas for the stars and the cheerleaders and PE programs. We are keeping the band hall. I've heard a rumor that we're going to demolish the band hall. That's not true. And we will keep, you don't see it here, but down below here is the new gym, which is 30-something years old. And we'll keep that. The second floor, you can see, is a much smaller footprint, and we'll have all classrooms basically on the second floor. Okay, what are the benefits of a new building? A new high school allows students to earn more college credit, saving them and their parents thousands of dollars. Right now, currently 50% graduate with some kind of dual college credit, and about 16% of our seniors graduate with more than 12 hours of college credit. I think we can offer just as far as the dual credit courses at Gilmer High School. I think if you do those just at the high school, the ones that we offer, I think you can get up 16 hours right now. New labs and technology and classroom space should allow us to increase that number to 35% with 24 or more college hours. And in 5 years, there's a goal to have 35% with 32 hours. So the science labs will be the biggest part of that because we can't do any dual credit science courses at all right now. So just to give you an idea, current rates, this is, today at Kilgore College are about $146 per hour, and room and board is about $2,500 per semester. So that would give a savings for students of about $9,000 at the junior college level, or $17,000 at a larger 4-year institution. And we're not even talking about Baylor or SMU or anything like that. You can multiply that times 3 or 4 or 5. So there's a lot more to it, and there's a lot of benefits for the community in real dollars for the students and for their parents. Also, with the Career and Technology building being doubled in size, we'll have the ability, this is going on, it gives you a few of the classes that we can do, just to give you an example, for the science lab, things we can offer, AP Chemistry, Physics, Environmental Science, dual credit sciences, biology, geology, botany, other classes, principles of bioscience, scientific research and design, just to give you an idea. Now to the Career and Technology building. A new high school allows students to graduate with 1 or more industry certifications. Those graduates will be a step ahead in job readiness and earn more money. My brother, my youngest brother, welds. He worked 8 months last year and made $150,000. So we have a welding program, but we're going to be able to increase the capacity of that, increase some of the things that they're going to be able to do and be ready to get certifications for. And then also there's some things that we can't do now, like a Cisco networking technician. I looked it up before we came. A median salary in 2015 for that is over $62,000. And a Microsoft Office Specialist certification. So you can get those even without going to college. Those certifications, they can earn up to $16,000 more annually than their peers without that certification. And so the goal is, according to Mr. Albritton, to double the current certifications that they offer from about 10 right now to about 20 by adding the space in the technology center. This is again to give you a little idea of some of the things that in classes and courses they'll be able to offer in the new building that they cannot offer right now. All the way from precision metal welding, Microsoft Office Specialist like I was talking about, pharmacy technician, to even some medical coding and CNA, so you can be a certified nurse assistant when you get out of school. All right, I'm going to turn the presentation over at this point to Larry Cowan, who's going to talk to us about what it's going to do to your taxes.
All right, I want to reiterate what Jennifer said. We certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here today to share with you about the bond election. As many of you know, I've been a member of this club for several years, and I've always was impressed by how hard you work to impact the lives of the individuals in this community and around the world. When you look at the literacy program, there's no telling how much of an impact that's had on so many lives. And then because of Rotary International, we've about eradicated polio throughout the world, which impacted millions of lives. Well, that's kind of the way I feel about this school bond election. In a few days, we're going to have the opportunity to impact hundreds of lives for many years to come. And, you know, it'll just make a huge difference in the lives of our children and our grandchildren. I shared the other day with a group about when I was in high school, I had the opportunity to play high school football. Now, as Pete knows, I wasn't an outstanding athlete. I didn't read my name in the paper and didn't have any recruiters knocking on my door. But I enjoyed playing, but I played for one of those old school coaches. And what he believed in was running the ball. You know, it was 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Well, about the second week in the hot summer of my junior year, I finally got up the courage to go to him and I said, "Coach, do we ever pass the ball?" Because I was a tight end. And I thought, man, well, I wish once in a while we had some pass plays. He looked me straight in the eyes and he said, "Son, when you pass the ball, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad." You know, that's kind of where we are with our high school. You know, 3 things could happen here. We could continue to do nothing and watch it continue to deteriorate. We could maybe spend millions of dollars on some type of renovation, but it's not going to satisfy and meet the needs of our students. There are so many obstacles to overcome with doing that. And when you got through, you would be like some of us in this room. You would still be old. And so, you know, the only real solution to the problem is to build a new high school. And so, you know, when you reach this point where we're at now, then you begin to analyze, well, what's it going to cost? And there's a lot of misinformation out there about the cost. And so I want to share with you just a couple of things real quick. So Joe, if Joe go to the first slide, this slide right here shows where we are today. Now there's people that are saying we have some of the highest school taxes in the state. Well, right now, this is where we stand. All these schools right here that are similar in size to us, Bullard, Van, Spring Hill, Gladewater, Canton, Pittsburgh, our tax rate now is below all of these schools. Go to the next slide, Joe. So what's it going to cost us? The average or the median price range of a home in Gilmer is $106,000. So if you took $106,000, we'll just say, let's say $120,000, and with the homestead exemption, you would drop that down to an appraised value of $95,000, their taxes would be increased annually $232. You divide $240 by 12, that's $20 a month. If you live in a $200,000 home, with your homestead exemption, it would drop it to $175, and your taxes would be $427 annually. It would increase your taxes $427 annually, which is less than $40 a month. You can't hardly go to Whataburger and with 2 people and eat for $40. Go to the next slide, please, sir. Okay, now, I look around the room and many of us fall in this category. Under Texas law, when you reach the age of 65 and you apply for an over 65 home exemption, your school taxes cannot increase unless you make improvements to your property. So if you don't add a swimming pool or build something elaborate,
That's the tax rate, that's not the valuation, correct?
do what?
That's
No,
only the tax rate.
no, that's the tax dollar amount. It's the dollar, I'm pretty sure about that, you
I
cannot.
just got my valuation, it went up this year.
Did it go up on the school or did it go up on the city or
It
the
went
county?
up total valuation.
Well, you may be looking at an increase because of the city or the county, but that's by, I'm right on this, I'm
The
pretty.
dollar amount,
The dollar amount.
change on your
The
school
school
tax,
taxes.
regardless of what the evaluation is. On your school.
So if you paid $1,000 when you were 65, if you apply for the homestead, you'll never pay more than $1,000, no matter what your rate is.
Okay. Any other questions about that? Okay, and then the last slide that I have here, if we pass this bond election, it will increase our tax rate by about $24. And so with that tax increase, it's going to elevate us up to the mid-range point where we would be at about $1.46. But we're still in the median. There's Spring Hill, there's Gladewater, there's Canton, and there's Pleasant Grove. All these have a tax rate higher than what our tax rate would be. So, in closing, I just don't see where there's any alternative. We owe it to our children, and we owe it to our grandchildren. And this will be, for many of us, this may be the last time we have a chance to impact so many lives.
Thank you, Larry. I'll introduce Tamil Harris. Tamil, what year did you graduate?
2010.
2010. You was on a state championship football team. You didn't wear your ring today?
I did.
Should have wore your ring, huh? All right, Tamil.
Let me do this for you.
You don't have to. Thank you guys for having us. As Mr. Dodd had already told you all, my name is Tamil Harris. I graduated from Gilmer High School in 2010. During that time period, I traveled a lot as a Gilmer FFA officer. I traveled to many schools, talked to a lot of different students, and learning and talking to students, I've learned that a lot of students are graduating with 27 college hours. Going into school, going into college, they're going to be a sophomore, as I was going to be a freshman. This is giving these kids major advantages to anybody coming out of our school. That's one more extra year of college, one more time to mess up, one more everything. So, we are here to give our kids the advantage. We want to give them the advantage that it takes to get into the workforce, what it takes to make it through college, and to be successful in life. How can you help us do this? By voting for the school bond. Early voting starts April 23rd through April 29th. 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. April 30th through May 1st, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Location in Gilmer High School, Gilmer Administration Office. Voting by mail-in. Ballots requests may be sent until April 24th. Contact Ms. Judy Moore at the Gilmer Administration's office. As well, visit our website, talk to your neighbors, your friends, and show them our virtual tour we have of the new high school and explain to them your perspective and get an open dialogue going so we can encourage people why we're actually we're not doing this for football, we're not doing this for anything else besides to give our kids an advantage. Another way you can help. Oh, excuse me, sorry. The final election day is May the 5th. Make sure you be there, bring your friends, load everybody up in the car, come on down. Saturday, May 5th, Gilmer High School, the new gym. Finally, like and share our Facebook posts. This is a way that we can reach many people to give them factual information. There's too much false information out there that's bogging people's mind up, just like the 65 and over situation. So like and share our Facebook posts, invite your friends to like our posts, endorse the bond openly. That means so much. It means so much just to see other people in the community supporting the bond. That makes your neighbor feel like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. So please openly support the bond. Place a vote yes sign in your yard. Again, that's just openly supporting the bond and showing your support. walk your neighborhoods, like I said earlier, and have that dialogue and have that conversation with your people. Again, go to our webpage, you can see the virtual tour of the high school, what it could potentially look like, and share that with your friends. I'm sure you'll be very impressed. Again, we thank y'all for our time today. I hope y'all go out and share the word and tell everybody about the new school. Does anybody have any questions, please? Yes, sir.
Anybody know when Marshall ISD students are getting out of school this year?
I do not.
The reason I say this is because they kicked the can down the road, kicked the can down the road, kicked the can down the road until they were forced to, by crisis, approve a $100 million school bond and did not have their schools ready for the start of school this year.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, and
So
this
I
is,
would certainly hope that we don't become a Marshall
and
because we kicked this down the road one more time.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anyone else, please? Yes, sir.
I have a big problem with tearing these schools down that are only, what do you say, built in 1960? They're still using the elementary school I went to, which makes it now 110, 115 years old. And that whole class every day, nobody's talking about tearing it down.
Yes, sir. Deals that we have right now is our safety concern is the hallways are way too narrow. You can hardly put 4 or 5 students together, lined up side by side without clogging the hallway. If there's a major emergency, it's really difficult to get students out of the building and out into a safe area comfortably. Also, the new school is failing in technology. We're way behind. It was built in a time period that we cannot advance and move on without creating massive, like just chaos. Because we got
You're saying, even after building this new high school, we cannot continue to use this old building for something.
Correct.
Don't
Well, because of the
compare
parking, because we run into an issue with parking. We're going to save as many structures as we can. This would come in with engineers because if you notice our administration office, it's in a very bad spot. It's very bad. Our new teachers have to go there and look at, that's how we welcome them. With pipes coming through the windows, like and so we're going to save as many structures as we can. But with parking and to get everything done in a timely manner that we're going to need to do it, most of the high school is going to have to come down, if not all.
Now, there's been 3 committees in the last 5 years, made up of probably 120 plus different individuals, and they all came to this conclusion in 3 different sessions. So it's not something that's been just thrown together or done lightly. I mean, this is a consensus that's taken place 3 different times over months and months. These committees visiting the schools, looking at plans, talking to builders, talking to engineers, talking to teachers, talking to the students. I mean, this is not what one person in the school district or one person in the community is trying to push. This is about as collective of an effort as I've ever seen. I mean, just like anything, we're not going to make everyone happy. It's not possible.
But to tear that building down, you could use it for something. You could put an administration building on there. You could-
Well, the administration building will be where the old career technology building is now.
It just seems like such a waste of money to tear something down. No older than
Well,
what it is.
I mean, obviously, you're entitled to your opinion. It's just that the opinion of 120 individuals that were on those committees didn't share.
Any other questions? Mr. Tesco?
Right now, school tax, Mr. Albrecht, you double check my tax, $1.22.5. We passed this bond issue that we need. The way I see it, the school tax rate would be about 47.5. Now, even after the bond passes, that tax rate would be lower than Pine Tree, Spring Hill, Glade Water. I don't really see the problem. I mean, I think for what we've spent so far, we can all ride around town to see what we got. You've got a lot of nice facilities this administration's done for us in the last 15 years since I've been on the board. So even after it passes, you're still gonna have a tax rate below $1.50. If we don't get in line to start paying taxes in line with what Austin thinks, we're gonna be like Dallas ISD. It's fixing to be sending their money to the state, they're not gonna get it back. I mean, right now, we need to strike while the iron's hot. These kids deserve this. And, you know, people saying, well, let's lower the tax rate. We're gonna do that by growing the community. You're not gonna grow the community. The first thing they see when they drive through Gilmer is the hospital getting tore down. And then they go over there and look at the high school and they say, boy, these people here really believe in what they got going. I mean, you know, there's no free ride here. And I just feel like these kids deserve it. That's just all I wanted to say. You know, I've spent 3 tellers through Gilmer High. There's probably been 60 or 70 of us, you know, in the last 50 years. And I just think it's past time.
Yes, sir. Ms. Nick?
I'd like to make just one quick comment. Taxes are a concern. I mean, I wouldn't want to minimize anybody's concern about our taxes. But as I look at it, we pay a lot of taxes to the state that we don't directly benefit from. We pay a lot of taxes to Washington that we don't directly benefit from. But this is something that sits in our backyard. This is something that we can sit in and watch band concerts, and our kids sit in those desks and they touch those walls. And this school will outlive us, all of us. Our grandchildren and great-grandchildren will reap the benefits of this school.
Anybody else? I'm gonna pull up, while you speak, I'm gonna pull up the virtual tour, and I hope you don't interrupt you while you speak, but I'm gonna give everybody a chance to look and see what's going on. Oh, it wouldn't work? Okay, all right.
Where can they go to see that virtual tour?
To our website at kidsfirstgilmer.com. Pull up on your phone and you can check out the virtual tour and it'll show you what it could potentially look like.
Okay, so you can go to the website, kidsfirstgilmer.com for the virtual tour. Jennifer?
We're also offering, if you want to leave the meeting here today and meet us over at the high school to walk through the school, see it with kids actually in the building. There's really just no other way to really experience it and understand what we're up against. We're inviting you to do that today.
And we've got some, for those of you who are interested, we have some yard signs, and we encourage you to take the little bracelets that are on the table. If you don't want to wear it, maybe your kids do or your grandkids, so take those. And then we have some cards here. Yeah, that are on each table, so there's a lot of information and material there. Feel free to take any of it you would like, share it with your neighbors, and we encourage you to vote early. You know, there's one thing that I've learned through the years, and especially on the last election, you know, I think the bond issue was defeated by 73 votes. I can guarantee you that the people that are against the bond issue will vote. The problem that we face a lot of times is those of us that are in support, we have good intentions, but maybe the field rolls around, we got something else we have to do or be out of town, we don't get around to voting. So we're encouraging you to vote early. Thank you.
All right, thank you all for joining us. If there's any questions, I'm sure they'd be happy to stay around for a few minutes after the meeting, or y'all can follow them to take a tour. I'm happy to answer any questions while you're on that tour as well. So thank you all for the information. I have a couple quick announcements.